All right, Dove and Myrna, this mic is all yours.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, Regis. Wonderful teaching, sharing. And Myrna, do you want to share, maybe start us
Yeah,
off?
sure. I love music that he played. I am not a victim of the world I see. I mean, that's the Course in Miracles. That song, I was sort of swaying to the music of that song. I'm not a victim of the world I see. And I think once we recognize that we're not victims, it's easier to become more involved in the true world, in the real purpose of who we are, understanding what our purpose is. And that is to give it all up, give up all the ideas that we think are holding us back. The blame, as Regis had said, is so destructive to our growth because it holds us back if we're blaming somebody else or the government or anything that happens in society or the weather, as Regis said. It just takes away from the pleasures of the truth of who we are. And the Course in Miracles tells us, no uncertain terms, the truth of who we are. We're creatures of love, and once we recognize we're in that scope of love, and there's nothing outside of that, then what else is there to feel except the acknowledgement that love is who we are, and then it is our purpose to extend that love. I think lately I try to be aware of when I'm feeling particularly that love illumination within. And at that moment, I extend it outward. I want to, I want the world to feel it. And according to what I now believe is that these feelings are very powerful. And because they're so powerful, they can do a lot of good in the world. And that is where we need to focus our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas. And in fact, today's lesson is really in accordance with that. Lesson 325, all things I think I see reflect ideas. And in fact, that also reminds me of lesson 193, all things are lessons God would have me learn. I think they're connected. These thoughts are really indicative of the truth of what we manifest into our life, whether it be true reality or whether it be an illusion. Those are the choices we have. And our ideas, the thoughts that come into our mind, the ideas that are not in accordance with love are simply illusory ideas. And that gives us, the lesson tells us that it's all about the ideas. They are untrue. The ideas that come into our mind are thoughts that don't reflect the heavenly feeling that is given us to become attached to. Heaven is right here, right on this, right with us. There's no place to go to experience heaven. It can be experienced right here. And if we put it to the test, and if we are completely, wanting to have that in our life, we can have it, we can manifest it. And I know, because I've been studying the Course in Miracles for a very long time, since 1990, and I've come a long way in finally becoming becoming aware, truly aware of those truths. And now, because I'm aware of them, I can live them. I can live them. We can live them. We just have to make the choice to do so. So I turn it over to you, Dove.
Okay, thank you so much for starting us off. And I put something both in the chat and in the room. Something that I was listening to Regis, and he quoted something. I looked it up, and I didn't find it. I found something else that seems to be something that I need personally, and I'm going to share it in a few minutes. And I was going to ask Regis, where is that, and what is that quote again? That your belief in nothing has cost you everything. I mean, that's so obvious when you realize that we're looking at an illusion. And of course, if you're looking at the illusion, you're looking at differences, and differences must mean conflict, because there's a conflict between what's over there and what's over here. That's a conflict. And conflict means there's no peace. And I heard you say you want to have the peace always, not just a piece of it. Regis just posted it. Okay, so it comes from text chapter 14, section 2. And it says, your faith in nothing is deceiving you. Offer your faith to me, and I will replace it gently in the holy place where it belongs. Okay, so I did a search, and I had your belief in nothing is costing you, and it said, sorry, Charlie, we don't know that one. So, but it did show me something that seemed to be perfect for Dove, and I'm gonna share. This comes from one of my really old-time favorites, chapter 18, section 6, which is called Beyond the Body. And the first paragraph in Beyond the Body, most of you know, because I repeat it so almost every time I'm here. There's nothing outside of you. This is what you must ultimately learn. So that's in chapter 18, section 6, paragraph 1. So the search engine said, well, we can't tell you about what you're looking for, but here's something that's close. And up came chapter 18, section 6, paragraph 2. And what does it say? Well, let's see what it says. What could God give but knowledge of himself? So that's what we really have is the knowledge of God in truth. He says, what else is there to give? Now, the knowledge of himself is he is the light, the love, the peace, the truth. And that's all you can give to anyone is the peace, the light, the love. And you can extend that. Yeah. What else can you give? But Dove has other thoughts, or at least Dove's ego has other thoughts. Let's read on. This is what it says. The belief, and you know about beliefs, don't you? The lie that you can give and get something else. Really? Oh, I would never do that. Something outside of yourself. Sounds interesting. Yeah. Has cost you the awareness of heaven and of your own identity. Oh my God. The only one that is fooling me is me. What? Yeah, no wonder they say we met the enemy and it's us. Yeah, I'm doing it to myself. Isn't that the secret of salvation? Let's keep reading. This is pretty interesting. It says, and yet you have done a stranger thing than you can, and you have done a stranger thing than you can even yet realize. You have displaced your guilt to your body from your mind. Oh man. Of course, I messed up big time. I put the guilt in the body, thinking the bodies mean something. Really, how could you do such a thing? Really? Yet a body cannot be guilty, for it cannot do nothing. It can do nothing of itself. I never realized that. You who think that you're a body, you have a fool for a teacher. You who think you hate your body, deceive yourself. Oh, this is about self-deception. I see. Self-denial. I see. So if you're denying the truth, if you're denying the peace of God, if you're denying the love, if you're denying the light, and you want to live in dark, you think that you're a body. It's that simple. You who think you hate your body, deceive yourself. You hate your mind. Oh, it's upside down. I get it. It's an upside down picture. Woo! Kodak had it right. You hate your mind, for guilt has entered into it, and it would remain separate from your brothers, which it cannot do. So that's a good way of holding on to guilt, hating the wrong thing and thinking the guilt is elsewhere. The body is not guilty. Body is nothing. Remember, it's your car, it's your vehicle. It gives you a chance to come to school in the morning, so that you wake up. Oh yeah, I'm a body. What's today's lesson? Oh, let me look up and see what today's lesson is. No, I am not a body. Yeah. No, I was thinking of lessons 93, 94, 95. I don't know what 96 is. Maybe someone can help me. And then there's 97. So 93 says, you who think you are the home of sin, darkness, and evil, and when you're really the home of peace, light, and joy. And what does he follow that with in 94? I am not a body. I am as God created me. Yeah. And what does he follow that in 95? I am one self, united with my creator. Wow. If anyone has 96 and wants to put it up, I'd like to read it. 96 is, well, I don't see it yet, either here or in the room. So, what is it?
96 is salvation comes from my one self.
Oh, that's a goodie. Nice. Salvation comes from my one self. Goes perfectly with 95. I am one self united with my creator. And what's the cream on top? You put the cherry on top of the cream and you got a Sunday delight. It's I am spirit. I am not this body. I am spirit. I am the mind of God. No wonder we get so screwed up in this world. So, it's nice to turn things right side up so that, after living your entire life upside down, you start to smile a lot more and say, my God, I had it all wrong. I was mistaken. I mean, aren't you the one that loves to say, do you want to be right? Or do you want to be happy? Choose one. You can't have both. Sorry, Charlie. So the idea of being happy, as Ken Wapney said, the purpose of this course is not to wake you up. Don't worry, you'll definitely wake up once you start being happy. The purpose of this course is to dream the happy dream, is to be happy. That's what God's will for you is perfect happiness. You don't have to worry about waking up. You're going to wake up when you start being happy. I mean, when you're unhappy, when you're sad, when you're upset, when you're angry, when you're worried, you don't stand a chance because the ego is in charge. Yeah. And when you're happy, you're a happy learner, a happy camper, a happy dreamer. Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender, pretending that I was happy, and now I am smiling and laughing at it all. And with that, I'm going to turn this mic back on over to you, the one, the only Myrna Scholar.
There are no two people alike. Everybody is complete individual unto himself. Okay, there are no two people that are completely the same, and we all have something to give. Anyway, I like what you put up on the chat. What could God give but knowledge of himself? What else could God give us? That's right, but knowledge. And when we accept that knowledge, we become completely aware of ourselves as we were created. What else is there to give? And what else would we want? Knowledge is love, and love is what we crave, don't we? And what else is there for God to give us but that? And when you give somebody love, it's because you want them to be happy. You want their well-being. And that's what I feel from this, this paragraph here. The belief that you could give and get something else, something outside yourself, has cost you the awareness of heaven and your identity. That was a pretty big price to pay, because when you're giving up the cost of your true identity, you're giving it up for nothing. You're giving it up for everything else but love. And when you can't have love, true love, and understanding that, and give love the way God gives, love the way God loves, then you really buying into the ego's love, which is not love at all, because it's not lasting and it really has no meaning. When I say I love you to someone, I have to really feel it. And I'm learning exactly how to feel it. And there's a big difference. Next sentence, and you have done a stranger thing than you yet realize. So we haven't realized yet. That's strange. And that's a shame, because when we do strange things and we don't even realize we're doing them, then where does it get us? Nowhere, except into stranger things. You have displaced your guilt to your body from your mind. So the sickness in your mind now is transferred into the body. I wonder whether or not that causes the body to be sick, because when you displace guilt into the body reacts to what the mind is telling it, and nothing more, nothing less. But when you have a healthy mind, I believe you have to have a healthy body. Yet a body cannot be guilty, for it can do nothing of itself. You who think you hate your body deceive yourself. Well, we don't really hate our body. We just don't know what we hate, really. We're deceiving ourselves into thinking that we're the cause of our hate, that something else is the cause of our hate and displacement, but it really is ourselves. We deceive ourselves. And you hate your mind, for guilt has entered into it, and it would remain separate from your brothers, which it cannot do. So you do hate your mind when guilt enters into it, because to feel guilty is the worst emotion that there is to feel guilty. I felt guilty. But like Regis says, going back in time, which is not a reality anyway, but going back in time, we're only programmed to be who we are. That's what we program ourselves to be, and we can't be any different. And we can't expect more of anybody else or of ourselves, because that was the programming. That was who we were at the time. I've changed. I've become aware of the programming that I once infiltrated myself with, but no longer. So to recognize that reality is where we stand in the moment, and that's really all there is anyway. And we travel such a long distance of going nowhere, a distance to nowhere. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they sentences? Just a distantless place, or whatever, something to that effect. I don't know the exact words, but you get the idea, that we've traveled a long way when we really haven't traveled anywhere. We've just believed that we have. The distance we traveled is only of the body. Just if we think we've traveled distance, it's because we believe in time. And when love makes an appearance in your life, time collapses. And I heard Lynn say that last night, actually. When love makes an appearance in your life, time collapses. So it really isn't about time. It's about the distance of traveling within your own thought system. When I say I've come a long way, I always had it within me to have the awareness of who I am. I just didn't know it, because I had programmed myself differently. So I believe that's the road that we travel, and then recognize we're going nowhere. And once you come up with that truth, then the everything becomes or is seen differently. Do you agree with that?
I agree totally. We are one, equal, the same, no difference. Whatever you say is perfect always. Okay. So you were looking at the illusion called time, and I'm going to also pick up on where I heard Regis talking about that we value, because of our upside down orientation, and we think that we see things that are real, and we learn as a child from our parents, and our parents thought it was real, so they teach, and whatever my parents say, well, I'm going to say, yeah, that's, my religion is real, this is real, that's real. Of course, none of it's real, but we kind of make it up because it's a belief system, and I'm not going to go too far away from my parents' belief system, or maybe I will become a renegade and go to the other side of the room. It's the same thing. One side of the room, the other side of the room. God has no sides. God doesn't take sides. What is one is one. There's no sides in oneness. So I was thinking I could be helpful when it comes to values, because when we talk about values, my birthday lesson happens to be one which Jesus said, this is a very practical lesson, very practical.
May 12th, I remembered, right?
And it's May 12th, and on leap year, May 12th is lesson 133. What does 133 say?
133.
I will not value the valueless. What's valuable belongs to me. And if it belongs to me, it belongs to all equally the same. We are one. So, and what is valuable? Well, we kind of got that earlier. What is valuable but the knowledge of our Creator, which is who we are too. God creates by extending himself. What could God give but the knowledge of himself? And what is valuable but the knowledge of our Creator, which is who we truly are in truth. Now, if I am in denial of the truth, which we are, if you come into this world, you are in denial of truth. That's why you come here to learn lessons, so that you can remember the truth. There's no other purpose for being here other than to remember what the truth is. And we do that through learning lessons. I mean, if you think you're here to do very well for yourself and put money in the ka-ching cash register, if that's what you think, you're probably wasting your time. I mean, the only purpose for anything is truth. Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting your time. And I was very fortunate when I had that spiritual awakening when I was 32, after hours of crying, getting rid of the poisons and toxins in my mind. I had a fresh mind, and I saw this picture, and it says, love the truth. I said, wow, what else could I possibly have come here for but for the truth? Certainly not for the lies I was living. Now, that doesn't mean that Dove gave up all of his lies at one time, but I did get certain things that helped me out. And lesson 133, he says, sometimes it's good to be very simple and practical. And, he does tell you over and over, this is a very simple course. Notice he never says it is easy. He says it is simple, but you have to know what it is that you want to really find. And if you focus on truth, you're going to find it, because that's your purpose. Whatever your purpose is, you're going to find it. So lesson 133, I will not value what is valueless. In other words, maybe I'm valuing things in this world which are useless. And that's exactly what Jesus says. He said, I'll give you two criteria for what is totally useless to you or valueless to you. And I've been going according to those two values for some time. I was able to give each one kind of I was able to give the two of them Another synonym, which I think is helpful, at least for me, and that is what is valueless is quantitative. You can count it. Anything that you can count, like time, you can count time. Time is always moving. Exactly as you said. This journey seems to be a long journey, but I mean, Jesus says, no, this is a journey without distance. If you're counting,
that's what I'm trying to think of. A journey without
journey without distance. If you think you have to count the miles or the steps or the feet or the yards or the miles or the kilometers or this or that, you're in the ego's thought system. Only the ego is counting. How far have you come so far? Oh, that's a bridge too far for you, Dove. No, I'm sorry. It's a journey without distance. It's all right here, right now. So he gives you two criteria, and I call the first time, and I call the second space. And he tells you in the course, time and space is part of the exact same illusion. It's the same illusion with different algorithms for it. So the algorithm for time has a lot of computers in it, always programming distances and time and you and me and us and them and babies, adults, and how long has he lived and what has he done in time. He says that which begins in time and ends in time has no value to you whatsoever. That's numero uno. What begins in time and ends in time has no value to you, the eternal, because what good would it do for something that has temporary value? How could you use it? You're an eternal being, unlimited. How could you use something that you see now and is not here tomorrow? So that's the first. And the second I call space. And this one says, if you see something that someone else has that you think is valuable and you don't have it, guess what? What you're valuing is valueless, because what God gives to all equally the same. And vice versa, conversely, if you think that you have something that others don't have, such as, quote, knowledge. Oh, I know something that you don't know. Whatever it is, it's valueless. Because what God gives, he gives to all equally. Yeah. So that gets rid of time and space, which are the two illusions that make the illusion of this world seem real. And then you go back to what it is that we quoted right at the top of this hour. Chapter 18, section 6, paragraph 2. What could God give but the knowledge of himself? We all have the knowledge of God. We are, as God is, one. That's the simplicity of salvation. And with that, Myrna, I'm going to turn it back on over to you. Mike is all yours.
Yeah, I like that. I will not value what is valueless. And that's the ego's greatest ambition, I think, to value what is valueless. We, every day we come across things that we think we want, and then when we get it, we want more. The ego is never really happy with what it has. It's always striving for more and more, and that's completely valueless, because what is valuable is lasting. What is valuable is lasting, and what is not valuable collapses. So to recognize that we have the valuable within ourselves, we have everything that's valuable. The pity of it is that we really don't see it, we don't recognize it. I sometimes reflect, I don't like to bring my personal stuff into this, but I think about my younger daughter, who has never gotten over her childhood, which to me, I seem to think she got everything she needed, but she sees it differently. And because she never got over it, and she's in her 50s, she is still wallowing in it. And she doesn't let me give her the best of myself, which is the best I can give her. This is the time of my life that I can really give her the best of myself because I know what it is, but she refutes it. And I recognize that, it's to me, it's such a pity because to hang on to a past, we know it doesn't exist, but unfortunately, she doesn't see it that way. And I'm fortunate in one respect in that I can step back, love her for who she is, recognize the pain she's going through, but there's nothing that I can give her that she can't give herself. And I always think that it is just a shame that here the time that we have left together could be the best spent time we ever had together, and yet she won't accept it. So that's what comes to mind. To value what is valueless is to hold on to a grievance that you really don't. It never happened anyway. But the mind is a very powerful entity, especially when you want to believe what it tells you. It really is very convincing. And so I just bring that to light because I can really, understand that you can't be anything that you can't be anything other than what you make yourself to be. And that's, the way it is. And, I've been there. I've been to in that place where I valued the valueless, when I held on to grievances, when I choked on them practically. But I think, again, you have to suffer enough pain to want to, retrieve the truth. And you recognize you're going the wrong way. And the Course in Miracles was the greatest roadmap that I ever came across because it taught me how to get where I needed to go. And it was a wonderful the healing that I experienced and that I now feel. I won't let anything interfere with that. And if my daughter feels that she can't get over her past, so be it. But it's not going to infect me. I won't allow it to do that. I can only tell her I love her, and the rest is up to her. I saw your beautiful family, Dove, the other day, your granddaughter and your great-grandson. I mean, it was just wonderful. She is so beautiful, your granddaughter, and your grandson. What a handsome dude he is. And I really love the fact that as a young man, he is involved in teaching younger people, the road. And I'm sure you're a wonderful example, and you give him a lot of good material just in who you are. And I think that it's wonderful that they have that, So they have the king there, really, the king of blessings behind you. I like that. Knows the Course in Miracles inside out and has an answer for everything. And I think we all learn the answers as we come across, as they come up, the questions come up. And once we know the answer, then it's solved. Everything is resolved. So I just thought it was just so nice to see them. Anyway.
Okay, thank you so much for that compliment. Yeah, it's the first time I saw my great grandson. He's 1 year old. They live down in the Tampa area, and they came up. Quay, who's the father, was the guest speaker at a gala event here in New York. So they came to New York, and that's how I got to be with them.
That was your first time? The first time you saw the baby? Really?
Well, I saw the baby in pictures. I didn't go to Florida. Yeah. I haven't been in Florida. As you know, I've been talking about going to Florida for over a year now.
Uh-huh.
If I went to Florida, there's only two places I'd probably pop in. One is Tampa and one is Boca Raton. Yeah.
Well, you
But
have to come to Boca Raton
yeah,
and
but
visit you.
yeah, but I haven't done it yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
At my age, the idea of traveling anywhere just doesn't seem to be something I want to do. It really isn't. But listen, they came here. What is the difference?
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
Who's counting? It's all perfect. I promise you, the one thing I can say, no matter what happens, it's perfect, exactly the way
Yeah.
it is. So when you're talking about your daughter, what came up for me is the book The Prophet, which I put over here in the chat, also in the room, by Khalil Gibran, who is The Prophet is one of the most famous books I've had in my
I,
bookshelf a long time. And as a matter of fact, I was showing it uh, to Taylor and Quay, who's my grandchildren, because they're talking about raising their son. His name is Avior. If you put an S in front of Avior, you have Savior, but that's another story. Anyway, so every parent has their way of bringing up the child. I happened to mention the book The Prophet, but it was not on my bookshelf because I lent it out, and whoever I lent it to, I don't know, never returned it, which is fine. Oh, by the way, probably the first day we spent together, I thought, well, what am I going to do? I'm gonna give them a sightseeing tour of the area I live in. No, Quay and Taylor took one look at my bookshelf and said, "Oh my God, I love these books." And they spent the entire afternoon looking through the books on my bookshelf and taking a lot of them home. And he kept saying, is it okay to take? I said, it's okay to take any book you want, because if you really know me, I really don't read books. After I found The Course in Miracles, I decided the only book I really want is the Course in Miracles. Although I just recently bought The Age of the Heart, and Glenn Hoverman, believe it or not, sent me a free copy of the Audible thing and I've been listening, although it doesn't sound like The Course in Miracles. So I think I'm back to the only book I want to read is The Course in Miracles. That's just where I am. I guess I've trained my mind to just see the Course. I just don't see anything else. Anyway, make a long story short, the Prophet has a section called Your Children. And this is what he says about your children, which I want to share. It says, even though you think that you're the parent of your child, yes, you did bring them into the world, but in truth, it isn't for them to be like you. It's for you to possibly be like them, because each generation is more evolved than the last generation. And we only think that we can give something to our children that they don't have. No, each generation has their own lessons. Each person has their own lessons. And for sure, if they are from you, they are evolved from you. And it isn't for us to try and have them be like us. It's for us to maybe be like them. And that's from Gibran. And the book is a book that's been translated into 100 languages. And if you haven't gotten the book, I heartily recommend it. Over to you.
I have The Prophet. So it's a wonderful book, and the part about children is very powerful because, like you say, he does it in poetic form, how to just let them go. You don't own them. You have them. They're there to grow on their own. You can't contain your children. Next week I'd like to have the book in front of me, and I can go get it, but it'll take a few minutes. It's on my, in the other room. In any event, I love Khalil Gibran. He did this one too. This one I had to have with me. Khalil Gibran, Jesus, the Son of Man. He did that one too. I don't think it's as well known as the prophet, but I love it. I love the way he writes about Jesus, from the viewpoint of various different people, that came upon him. A Greek apothecary, Philemon is a Greek apothecary. Mary Magdalene, what she says about him, and so on. I mean, Anna, the mother of Mary. Nicodemus, the poet, the youngest of the elders in the Sandheim, which is interesting because Nicodemus had a very difficult role to fill because he believed that Jesus could be the prophet, that could be the savior. And yet the rest of his group, kind of tore it down. But he, within his heart and soul, knew that there was something there, that Jesus was more than just a mortal man. I mean, he was, he understood that. Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to read that. Let me read a little.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say I could play that for you right now, if you guys would like to see it and hear it.
Sure.
Which one is that?
Short.
Oh,
Your
yes,
children.
please.
Okay,
Sure. Yeah, please, yes.
Let me get this, because I think it's so lovely, and you are. I mean, to me, it's just amazing. Let's see here, and will it just automatically do the audio? I guess it will. All right.
Play it again, Sam.
Okay, you're not hearing it?
No.
Okay, hang on then. I must be sharing it wrong. Hang on. Are you seeing a picture?
Well, hold on. Hold on. Am I seeing a picture? No. The picture's not necessary. The words are good.
Why don't you read it, Lynn? You have such a beautiful
read
reading.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, read it.
Oh, here it is. You got it. The picture's on.
The prophet.
It looks like it's moving, but I don't hear sound.
We don't hear anything. Yeah.
No sound. Let's see.
I could go get my own book if you like.
Well, no. I just want you to hear this.
Okay. All right. All right. We will. Now the picture's gone. Len, if you want to read it, it'd be good too. I always look for my book on the bookshelf. I can never find it. I must have given it away. So if you have it, that's great.
Yeah, I can read it. I brought it up on my phone. You want me to read it?
Yeah, sure. Okay, Myrna.
Okay, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, nor even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Isn't that beautiful? Loves also the bow that is stable. I like to think of myself as a stable bow. And
You like to think of what is a stable bow? What?
For even as he loves
No. I did hear the words. You like to think of what as the stable bow?
Love is a stable bow. Yes,
Yeah.
a stable.
Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah.
okay. I heard you say I like to think of somebody as a stable bow. Okay.
No, myself is, to be stable is a stable bow. I mean, it just tells us, that you just can't make them like you. You can be like them,
Yeah.
okay, if you want to, but you can't make them like you.
Right.
And I think children give us that experience. We learn. Sometimes we learn too late because we strive, until we learn the truth of the ability that we have to let go and should let go and let them be who they are. But I think we learn from each other. We learn our lessons that way. All things are lessons God would have me learn. Everything is a lesson to learn from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Words are funny. Like when you said a stable bow, you could spell bow B-O-W, as it says, but you can also spell it B-E-A-U.
Yes, I was going to say.
Bow. That's I was wondering who Myrna thinks could be a stable bow.
No. I'm not into that kind of bow.
No, but that's okay to have a stable bow. I think God is our stable bow. I mean, truly speaking, that's the course of saying you are one with your Father. He's your stable bow. So I want to celebrate and share that.
You can bend. It says you can bend as a bow bends, but you can be stable in your bending.
Yeah. Well, the way you bend your bow is you include your brother as yourself. You're including your brother as yourself. That's how you bend the bow. But your true bow is our creator who created us as his bow. So there's a lot of bows, a lot of arrows, and nothing is happening because we never left home. That's the whole idea of A Course in Miracles. What is heaven? It's an awareness of perfect oneness. That's we never left home. That's what accepting the atonement is all about. And the atonement is nothing more than a correction of mind. Like Jesus says in the clarification of terms, he says, I'm really not interested in philosophical metaphysics and stuff like that. I'm really not. He says, I'm not even interested in the precise meaning and terminology of words. I'm only interested in acceptance of atonement or the correction of perception. So we see things upside down, and when you see them right side up, you got to laugh, and nothing really happened. So I just want to also share that a few things. I took on a new mantra. I'm so happy about it. I shared it on Sunday at Maureen Muldoon's speakeasy Sunday morning service. And basically, it comes right out of the Course in Miracles, chapter 1, section 6, I think it's paragraph 2. It says, a sense of separation from God is the only lack you really need to correct. Can you imagine that?
Repeat that, please. I want to hear it again.
A sense of separation from God, from our Father, from him who has created us, is the only, and whenever he uses the word only, he wants you to listen, is the only lack you really need to correct. So, yeah, we who think that we're bodies think that we're separate bodies, of course. But in body form, you are deprived of the truth of who you are. And the only one that can deprive us is ourselves. And when you deprive yourself, you feel lack, you feel scarcity. And you know how I feel about scarcity. You break it down, it's scare city. You know, you live in fear that somehow you're missing the mark. And what's about missing the mark? Well, when you missed the mark in the old days, that was a sin, right? That's all sin really meant in the old days. You sinned, you missed the mark. And the word sin, like in the Latin, means to do without. I am sin. And you know, as the Course says, sin demands punishment. It has to be punished because sin is guilt. And what is the punishment? Lack. Poor you, as I like to say, pobrecito, poor me. So I'll repeat it again. It's from chapter 1, section 6, paragraph 2. A sense of separation from God is the only lack you really need to correct. And as Jesus says, I'm not interested in the metaphysics of this Course. I'm interested in the correction of perception. That's the only thing you have to correct. You aren't lacking anything. You're whole, perfect, equal, complete, innocent. You are as God created. You are as God is. God is. And then you cease to speak. Love is, peace is, truth is. It's an isness. It doesn't vary with anything. There's no time and space to vary it. You got to laugh. You simply got to laugh. I think the other thing that I wanted to share is on Sunday at Maureen's at Speakeasy, and I know that Lynn was there. I happened to attend both the John Mundy service, which starts at 11:30, and I stay there to about 10 after the hour, and then I went over to I was the other way around. I was at Maureen's until 10 after the hour, but enough to hear Todd Fink. And if you haven't ever heard Todd Fink, he's really good. But this time he spoke about, because it's Thanksgiving Day, he spoke about the word gratitude and all the places where gratitude comes from. And after listening to him, he talked about the value of starting a gratitude journal. And I have his TED talk, 20-minute talk on gratitude. If you want it, I have it. Of course, you can get it yourself from Maureen's entire hour and a half. But I just took his talk on gratitude, and if anyone wants it, I can share it. I'll be glad to send it to you, Lynn. And in it, he talks about the value of starting a gratitude journal, and I started one on Sunday. Yeah, I have 3 entries on Sunday, and yesterday was Monday, and I have 3 entries for Monday. He says, you can start with 3 entries every day. And he says you can do it for 20 days. He said you can do it as long as you want. But if you do it for 20 days, what you're doing is you are coming from your experience of what the day was like, not from the things that gave you, like I just won something, so I'm grateful, or somebody said something that makes me feel good. No, that's not the gratitude. I'm talking about my personal experience, like I have done something. I'm very grateful that I have done it. And he says, by putting it in a journal, what you're doing is you're coming from your experience, you're turning your mind around just a little, you're putting it on paper, and then you're reading it, and then that brings you back to the experience again, and that fulfills the wholeness of gratitude, which is really to thank your Father for all that you are, to thank your Father for what you are. Because he tells you in the Course, he says, gratitude is the fastest, easiest way to get to know God. I mean, God doesn't really care for your devotion and your prayers. He just wants you to be happy. Happiness is gratitude. Happiness is gratitude. And with that, I'll turn the mic back over to you.
Yeah, I love that about gratitude, because I have a very grateful heart. I know that about myself. I'm always thanking the universe for one thing or another. And you're right, it's not because something happened that has to do out of the realm of truth. It's not because I got something, a new car or something. No, that's not what I'm grateful for. But I'm grateful when I'm feeling love for something. Thank God. I'm always thanking God. And it's the greatest connection that you could possibly have, because I get that feeling back that God is grateful that I'm grateful. That's the feeling I have. It's a wonderful, wonderful connection. And if a journal works, I mean, I'm all for that, because yes, to focus on a grateful heart is the best thing. It's so purifying. It's wonderful, because there's nothing to worry about. When you're grateful, you know that whatever it is that you're the entity thanking God, that God is with you, and that it's such a feeling of being feeling safe, feeling loved. It is nice. It really is. So I like that you brought that up, because I can relate to that. Yeah. Anyway, it's the bottom of the hour, so I think we've really come up full good distance this past hour. We just covered a lot of stuff, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We did. And it's like it's always right here, right now. Spirit is always speaking to us through us. When I'm willing to say, I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm glad to represent Him who sent me. I don't have to know what to say or what to do. Spirit is always right here, giving you what to say and what to do. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Do I have any thoughts? That's exactly right. When I used to sit here and even speak with you, I started about 2 years ago. I used to always worry about what I was going to say. Now I just sit down, and whatever comes up, comes up. And after every talk I have with you, I thank God for being with me. I thank Jesus, actually. Not that there's any difference, but I always thank, for seeing me through it and giving me the thoughts. Once we have that recognition that God is with us, and we don't have to worry about a thing. And this chapter that you just read from, on page 28 of the Course in Miracles, says just that. You don't have to worry about what to say and do. God is right there with you. All we have to do is to open our hearts and allow it in.
Yeah. Okay. And it's Linnegan in the Gather says there is an animated film of the prophet. It's glorious. And she says, I play music from it here. Maybe one of these days you play music right here at Gather, on Gather Radio, on YouTube. So I'm going to finish with this from the Course in Miracles, chapter 17, section 5. God established His relationship with you to make you happy. That's why He created us. So God's will for me is happiness, and that's my own will. We only have one will, to be happy, and nothing that you do which does not share His purpose can be real. So you can imagine all the times you're not happy, you're dreaming. The purpose God ascribed to anything is His own function because of His reason for creating His relationship with you. The function of relationships becomes forever to make happy and nothing else. And with that, thank you so much, Myrna, Len, Regis, everybody at ACIM Gather. Love you all. Happy Thanksgiving. And Sharon, I see you in the room. We'll be on Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day morning.
Thanks, you guys, so very much. And I'm